so many rules in 40K, hundreds of events, and constant updates. Skip the learning curve of Warhammer and join the pros. Art of War is led by multiple world champions with decades of success. We teach clinics, stream games, and inspire you to succeed at your favorite hobby. Join our global community of gamers just like you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Hangout and Hobby. I am the Machine, Richard Siegler.
The Machine! Florida Man and the Machine. That sounds like an indie band.
I'm also an all-seeing annihilator.
Also that. But I'm an unstoppable destroyer, and I'm John.
Mm-hmm. The John Lennon.
The definitely only. I believe
if you Google search John Lennon, this John Lennon shows up.
I mean, at some point, yes.
At some point.
At some point. I'm on a Google page. For sure. At least one of them.
We did Google searches of each of our names. And I was the one who just instantly, it's me.
Yeah. Yep.
John obviously had the most difficult.
You gotta put a keyword in.
You would think Nick would be up there.
I honestly would, but turns out there's several.
There are several.
A couple of Nick Nanavities out there.
Nanavity. I love the way that the Fiverr guy says it on the podcast episodes. Mm-hmm. Nanavati. He says it with this extra.
What's up, Lyle? Since no one's saying otherwise, I'm gonna assume they can hear us.
Lyle can hear us. Lyle has the most powerful ears in 40K.
Absolutely.
Right, Lyle?
I think it's true.
How's it going, Captain Athenos? Hope you're doing well. Welcome.
Oh, it's good to have a hangout hobby. We don't do these enough.
And it's the classic.
It is a classic.
It's the classic in terms of...
Does anyone in the chat remember when we did these 5 days a week?
I'm sure that Lyle remembers that. Out on Twitch, we were just doing it day after day. Yeah. But this is the classic matchup in which John and I both get things done.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to do my washes at the end. It's going to be great.
You got to do the washes at the start so that you can start another wash as soon as it's dry. You got to always be washing. That's Nick.
Old ABW? Always be washing.
All right, I am building a Ghost Ark here.
I am painting some Tyranid warriors. Let's see, is that showing? Yeah, there we go. Tyranid warriors. They don't have arms right now, which is totally fine because there are magnets that are not glued into the arms, despite Nick's best efforts. Should we tell them about that?
Absolutely. Nick's warriors are one of the tried and true.
Absolutely. You know, it wouldn't be a hangout and hobby if we weren't telling.
Also, especially so because he has yet to give us that 2 Towers essay, and that was supposed to be...
That is true. There was a 2 Towers
on the stream.
Hey, Nick, come in here. See if we can get him to atone for his crimes. We're not going to, but we're going to ask. Lyle's saying, yeah, the streams used to start after he got off work. But you know what? Now you have something to do during work. I always struggle with that. I never have anything to do when I'm at work.
You gotta find the most inane YouTube series ever.
Absolutely.
Start it up.
Just gotta watch people eat Dunkin' Donuts.
Try every donut today, John.
Every single one.
Look what we could be doing.
Yeah,
we could have the unhealthiest diet possible on YouTube.
Yeah, we could pull that off. Put our metabolisms to the test. I'd really rather not. Go Nids go. Thank you, Captain Athenos. I am so excited for these new Tyranid rules. I'm actually getting them back on the stream again on Thursday. Mm-hmm. So I'm just gonna...
Well, that's a great thing to start with. So we got a great matchup. First of all, Drukhari versus Tyranids.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah.
Boy, was that a tough matchup for Tyranids for a while.
Definitely it was.
Wow.
It's traditionally through the 5 editions that I've been playing, it's traditionally the hardest.
Yeah. However,
I've been playing for 6 editions. Holy crap.
Octarius has given Tyranids some incredible new rules, which might actually bend the favor back into...
It definitely is better. I don't know if it got better... I don't know how much it got better, I should say. I don't know if it's better enough. I don't know if it's a good matchup, a bad matchup. But I know what it used to be, and it's better than that now. So I'm really excited to get it on the table, find out... Hopefully I'm not going to just get run over by the Drukhari, which was a theme of the past several months, where unfortunately Tyranid just didn't quite do enough damage to really make it all work. But I'm really looking forward to this one. just to see how it goes. I think
Tyranid damage has gone up dramatically.
It has, and their vulnerability to ranged firepower is not going to be too hard exposed by typical Drukhari.
Yeah,
most Drukhari lists don't bring in just the weight of guns to really punish me. So I'm hoping I can survive long enough to kill every single elf on the table.
I think the other thing in your favor is that Drukhari lists are pivoting towards dealing with orcs and with AdMech.
Yes,
particularly vehicle heavy lists.
Yep.
And the tools you want in that do not help you against Tyranids.
Yeah, and I still think Tyranids got a lot better, but I still think they're going to be a relatively rare army. They're going to be more popular. Like it used to be like at Orlando.
They're still a hard army to play.
But it's a hard army to play. Yeah, I'm optimistic. I don't think that just buying 18 Hive Guard is going to be a fad that really sticks around for very long. I don't at all think that that's the best way to play the army. So
you do run low on stuff, and stuff is what Tyranids actually do really well.
That is the only thing. That is the best thing they do well. I shouldn't say only. Since we're painting them, I'm getting the Nids bug again. What would a list look like in my view? So Captain Thenos, you can actually see a list that I'm playing tomorrow. That's going to be on YouTube at the same time, and we'll have a list in the description there. But just to start things off, I think that the Swarmlord and 2 units of 16 Genestealers is a really comfortable place right now. I like a Malanthrope, but Venomthropes and a Prime are also good, support choices. I think the Maliceptor is actually making it into lists for the first time in a very long time.
The what?
The Maliceptor? Yeah, theoretically.
The who or what?
There is a Maliceptor. It's a new kit that Tyranids got 8 years ago that we all forgot about. But now we're busting it out.
Has it ever been good before?
Not even once.
What about the Hive Crone or the Harpy? Because I've never seen those either.
They were very respectable in 6th and 7th. They weren't
the Maliceptor. What about the Toxicrene?
Toxicrene has at no point ever been relevant. At no point.
Okay, so that and the Maliceptor are the two that have been.
Yeah.
We're here, but we're really not.
Yeah. Those two are like, because like you'll notice that that's the only monster kit I didn't have like triplicate of.
They're like Crutoxes.
They're like a big Crutox, except suddenly the Crutox gives reroll damage, and it's like, you know what?
Honestly, I would take the Crutox.
I bet you would. A couple questions sneaking in. How are we preparing for orcs with its recent success? I think there will be a lot of them.
We've been preparing for orcs for the last 2 months. We knew they were silly. As soon as that book came out, we started putting it on the table, and we're like, wow, our good lists are getting tabled out here. And effortlessly.
I wouldn't say for all of the 2 months, but there was definitely a point where people started bringing buggies, and we're like, wow, this is really bad.
And planes.
This is really, really bad.
Buggies and planes.
The buggies and planes. So what I'm doing is I'm thinking about putting blips in a list, like some Genestealer Cult allies, looking at defensive buffs, negatives to hit, and removing... I'm making sure that all MSU elements can be deep struck is a really big thing. So absolutely. Anytime I've got like my little Lictor or my Ripper Swarms, I'm just making sure that all units of that type that I take can go in reserves without spending some command points, because I want to have those command points for defensive buffs. As soon as you take turn a -1 to strength and a -1 to hit aura into a Tyranid army, orc shooting is not actually that good. And if I don't have any easy kills because it's all large bricks, big monsters, and like thick units out of line of sight and characters,
thick
units such as Hive Guard, a thick unit if I ever saw one. Mm-hmm. It really changes how hard or easy it is for orcs to get that +1 to hit, and that's a big thing. If you can keep them at -1 to hit army wide without getting any buffs, it's still scary because it's orcs, but it's a lot more survivable for the common bug. Someone was asking if I'm going to put my Genestealers on 32s. I am not, because they're still sold on 25s. This is very annoying, by the way. I would really prefer to be on a 32. Unfortunately, they're currently on 25s, and until they're sold otherwise, I don't want to hear anything about modeling for advantage. So the second I can, I will rebase them to 32s, but I'm gonna wait for them to get repackaged. Maybe like whenever they do a Genestealer Cult or a Tyranid Codex, maybe then they'll sell the kit with 32 mils.
Wait, you're telling me that Genestealer Cult has Genestealers in there?
Yes, theoretically. I've heard some rumors through the mill that there will be a Genestealer unit in the next Genestealer Cult Codex. I don't know when it is. We're thinking December, but we don't actually know that. But maybe they're going to put Genestealers into Genestealer Cult.
It would be
shocking. It was weird. They were in the index. They were in the index for Genestealer Cult. I'm not even kidding. They They left them out of the codex. It was the weirdest thing.
What are these pure strains you speak of?
How did you know that name? We do not speak their name.
It's in the lore, John.
Oh, it's in the lore. Okay.
Somewhere in the lore. Starting Thousand Suns, how do you feel about them since their codex? Worse than Death Guard or maybe better?
Oh, I think they're better than Death Guard. So, as a matter of fact, I have something for you. Tomorrow we are releasing an episode that I just recorded earlier this week with my lovely co-host Steve Joel and Liam Hackett from Down Under. He's the number 1,000 Suns player in the ITC. He's been on a great run. I didn't even believe this, but after he explained to me how he is like 5-0 into orc buggies in tournaments, it actually kind of made sense. So I could give an answer, but I'm not really a 1,000 Suns player. I would say that tomorrow you should listen to that podcast. I think it's fantastic. Steve has already been an amazing co-host, so
totally,
it's going to be really good content. You should definitely check that one out.
Yeah, if you want all the part twos, guess what? We created a brand new YouTube membership tier for all the part twos of every podcast.
What a layup.
Art of War, Unbroken, Down Under, get them all together. And cool thing about YouTube is you get every membership benefit below the top tier.
Yep.
So if you sign up for podcasts, you get all the other stuff.
Even better. There you go.
Let's see. I also think Thousand Suns are better. They're both relatively slow, but at least Thousand Suns have some speed in the forward deploy and the teleporting. And obviously, Mortal Wounds are just so powerful right now. It's just a better mechanic. I also think Rubrics and Scarab Occults are just better than the Death Guard Terminators.
Oh yeah, they're OPSEC and Fearless.
As soon as flat 3 plus D3 damage came to the meta, man, those Death Guard Terminators felt a lot less good.
You know,
when it was all 2 damage, they felt great.
Yeah, and Thousand Suns have good CP regen, so like when you need -1 damage, you can get it. But when you don't need it, you're not paying through the nose for it. Maliceptor all day. Yes, Alkakoi, I am.
If
our good sponsor Warpfire is hooking us up with a Maliceptor, and
it's coming. It's on the way.
So ready. So ready, Richard. It needs to happen.
I'm ready to see it.
It's been too long.
I can't wait for the Toxicrene. That Toxicrene meta.
You know what? I think we're gonna have to wait for a new codex on that one.
Darn.
No synaptic links for the Toxicrene. He's not synapse, so
but he has giant like flailing.
He is about as wide as Richard Siegler. Like, I'm pretty sure if a Toxicrene was obscuring itself, Richard could hide himself behind it because it is more than 5 inches tall, and it is like. It's so huge because it just like its tentacles are like this. It's trying to hug 2 objectives at once.
Do you own one?
No, I do not. It's that the toxic.
One.
I have seen it. Yes.
Seen one out in the wild.
Only one, but it's massive. So the Toxicrene Maliceptor is the only monster kit because they're the dual package. It's the only monster kit I didn't own at least 3 of.
You own 0 of,
and I am 0, and that should tell you a lot. Now, probably should have learned by now, like maybe snag one here or there just to like build up. Well, but I tried that with Gladiators and that was a misfire.
I better start thinking about the Tau Flyers because I don't have any of those.
No Tau Flyers?
0 Tau Flyers.
Just 1 or 2, The rumor mill is like warming up, right? Like there's all these YouTube videos like Gene Stealer Culting versus Custodes in a box set. Have you seen that grainy image of the Custode?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's actually a dope pose. I'm hoping that's real.
He looks like
He
looks like a con.
He does. That's 100% going to be like a Primaris captain conversion for me. Like a White Scar guy just like cutting people down.
If you guys gave Sigmar a go, what factions would you play?
Ooh.
I would start with the dwarves that fly, the steampunk dwarves, simply because it's supposed to be just a silly shooting faction, and I know John and Nick would get upset about it. And then I would actually want to play.
I've actually really been feeling the Sigmar recently.
I would like to.
I've been thinking it.
You're thinking it?
I've been thinking about it. And it's such a bad idea. But like I've been thinking about it.
The Indeneth Deepkin, that's their name?
Yeah, Edeneth.
Yeah.
The sea elves are pretty dope. I'm going to be honest.
The turtle, John.
The war turtle?
The war turtle. That's
crap.
amazing.
Like honestly, I want to like. And there's so many cool conversion ideas with Edeneth. Like I want like a war octopus.
I like the Soulblade Gravelords too. They look cool.
Here's a fun fact for everyone watching. My favorite sea creature is the octopus. Octopus are fantastic. They're so smart. I love them. Like my rich person dream. You know how we all have like rich person goals when we have like so much money, then there's nothing intelligent to do with it, so you start doing stupid things. You know how like Nicolas Cage had like a pet monkey. I would like a pet octopus at some point. When Art of War hits gold, and I just am drowning in money, like
You're gonna then be drowning in octopi.
I'm gonna just a pet octopus. That's all I want. But actually, serious answer on Sigmar. I like Lizardmen a lot, or Seraphon as they've been called now. But because they don't have like new models, like a lot of their, I think I'd get bored of them because their base troops are just not the same standard as like new Sigmar models, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Daughters of Cain, the like the snake witch elves. I love that. You know me. I like snakes. And they're a lot cooler than Dark Eldar. I don't know why. I hate like 40k elves, but I actually like a lot of the Sigmar elves.
Yeah, the Sigmar elves.
The Sigmar elves are like really beautiful.
Teclis's faction with the giant mountain spirits.
Oh my god.
Mountain cows.
The mountain cows. Yeah, it's oh my god. I also like I could see myself. I didn't really like the Stormcast aesthetic at first. Like it's just kind of like lame Space Marines. But I'm gonna be honest, the dragons.
Dragons are awesome.
I could get down with the dragons so easily. I could just be like, yep. I want to get one of those 2 big dragons and just paint it as like a hobby project because that is like a display model.
Steve,
it's like Smaug.
Steve Joel has indeed replaced our good friend Tim on the podcast.
Indeed,
Tim
he has,
is focusing on playing 40k and all the other stuff that he's doing.
And
he's a full-time
family life.
He's a full-time air traffic controller.
Yeah,
man is busy
with a child.
Yes.
I gotta say, it's a lot easier recording podcasts when I don't have a kid. Other than Nick. I'm gonna get Nick in here to answer for about the essay.
Yeah, we need him to answer.
Yep.
6 Death Cult Assassins are better than 6 Repentia? I doubt that.
I actually like Death Cult Assassins a lot. It's the advance in charge.
A 6 unit?
Am I being summoned?
Yes. Tell us why we don't have a Lord of the Rings essay right now.
Because we are hard at work on a brand new YouTube series for all of you to enjoy. So, that's
Nick eating every flavor of donut.
Every flavor of donuts. Everyone wants to see that.
John.
Everyone wants to see that. No, we are actually working on so much new content. I'm very excited. And that's more important than Lord of the Rings. I really do think so.
Nick, you don't even remember what happened during Two Towers.
I do.
So long.
I do. The
What
trees.
happened?
We're
gonna have to rewatch it. We're gonna have to rewatch it.
Yeah, no, we don't. I've already seen it twice.
Why?
That's 20
We
times
had,
more than we should.
When are we watching Return of the King?
January 1st.
The Town Lord's in my room. There's no reason for that.
January 1st.
No.
It's if the Harlequins aren't done.
The Harlequins are done.
They're not even close to being done.
More YouTube content. Harlequins getting painted on YouTube. Hang out and hobby. Right now. But later.
Right now, but later.
Nick's gonna throw 3 more washes on them before they even look semi-good.
All right, so we've got we've got to hang on to hobby next week. So Nick, I'm sure
He'll join us.
you'll join us next week. Yeah, great. Okay.
John, we keep finding more Harlequins. Remember all those Harlequins we found in the garage?
Oh my god, yeah. Honestly,
We need to keep adding.
I'm gonna start getting random Harlequin boxes at store credit and just shove them into the pile. As long as we're getting him to paint everything.
How many solid? We need to get him.
Well, he has to paint all the bikes is the thing.
The Death Jester as well.
He has to paint all of
Jeff
those
the
bikes.
Jester was destroyed.
Oh no! I think there's the other Jester. We have 2 Death Jesters. The one that was like primed got completely shreked by Bella, the ravenous dog. But I think Jeff the Jester is still intact.
Jeff is.
I'm really concerned about all of the bikes
because they don't have riders.
No, they have riders.
Oh, they do.
They're just not glued on.
Usually Nick doesn't have the riders.
Usually he doesn't.
Fast-moving units.
He usually
you gotta
doesn't.
throw.
But they're primed white, so I'm just really nervous about that.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, what's my nid list? David, it's very much still in development. The one that I'm playing tomorrow is the same one I used last week in the War Room. I had a great game against Richard's Grey Knights there. I am thinking about a lot of things like how many Devil Gaunts I want, how many Steelers I want, what my supports are going to be. So it's probably going to change over the next couple of weeks several times. I'm actually going to be doing a lot of testing off stream as well as on stream to try to refine that as much as possible. But I imagine, do we have Tyranids on the schedule next week? If not, put them on.
Put him on.
Put him on. As soon as we get that Maliceptor in there, we're going to paint him up too.
Maliceptor.
You got to get the Maliceptor in, right?
Matt O with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Matt. Do you think that leaning massively into reserves is a way to counter Buggy/Orcs Alpha Strike? Is it just too much of a points deficit to come back from?
I think it is. I think you can't let Orcs dominate the board because Orcs
They also don't die that quickly.
They don't die that quickly. So coming in with an Alpha Strike of your own on turn 3 after the Speed Walk might have dissipated if they call it turn 1 still. I feel like that's not necessarily going to work because like a lot of good anti-tank units kill like one buggy. And especially because orcs have started splitting up their buggies. That's actually really annoying.
Yeah. All the MSU buggies.
The MSU buggies.
You know what does it? Custodes, baby. They just go in and they don't die.
Yeah, just go in, don't die, -1 strength, and just keep punching.
-1 to hit. The better.
That really helps a lot, yeah.
Yep. Man, Telemons are just champions against orcs.
I really believe you.
They're so good.
I fully believe it. I can see it.
So either you have to lean into what your faction does well, or try and. So I'm pretty sure Matt plays Sisters.
Yep.
So I imagine transports are your best bet there.
I think a couple of transports and just anti-tank wherever you can get it, I think is important.
And probably having MSU multi-meltas in a lot of different places, so they can't just pick up a couple of them.
Yeah, but also like having MSU against orcs is kind of dangerous, so you need to...
In the transports.
For sure, yeah.
Yes.
Like, I honestly want to like try out Sisters tanks against orcs, which is just a terrifying thing, but...
The Castigator?
It makes me want a Castigator, yep.
What's the profile on a Castigator?
To
be clear, I played against one round 1 at New Orleans, but I still don't know what it does.
Yeah. So it's D6 shot, strength 8, AP 2, flat 3. I think I like the Exorcist better there. So I kind of want
D6 damage.
D6 damage, but more reliable number of shots.
Miracle dice.
If only I could miracle dice the number of shots. If I could, I would take a Castigator. Drop that fat 6 on it.
But yeah, I feel like you need enough on the board that you can push into the middle.
Yep.
And
so you have to be able to play with them. Which is,
if you just reserve everything, and they have the planes, they're going to screen you out too.
That's another thing. Their models are so huge that they can screen relatively easily. So I don't like reserving a ton of important units against orcs.
Just enough cheap stuff that you can't hide. Like when I played against him, Mark at New Orleans, I went ahead and spent command points to strategic reserve all of my MSU Vanguard and Vanguard units.
Yep.
Get them out of here.
Indeed.
What do you think of Mike Porter's Eldari list? Keeps beating my AdMech list, which make me sad.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Adam.
What's his exact list?
I don't remember reading the exact list. It was
Adam, what was his list? Tell us.
I think it was the mix of Harlequins and Drukhari. I'm sorry, Harlequins and Craftworld like support. I think it has.
Did he bring that indirect battery?
I think so. Adam, yeah, just type it up for us real quick.
The indirect battery is annoying because it gets a ton of shots against you, and if they have the Warlock Conclave for 36-inch range -1 Jinx, it is darn annoying to deal with that. You just need to push your whole army on the line, right down the board. Yep. And this is why you run the veteran cohort, so you get advanced charge. Because Cerberus Raiders, man, you get first turn, they're done. Those batteries not shooting.
Cerberus Raiders are definitely so good into Eldar.
Clutch.
Because Eldar and Harlequins don't have any kind of forward deploy.
Nope.
Rangers lost forward deploy. I think Mandrakes are the only Eldari faction forward deploy that exists right now. Harlequins don't have it. Maybe Scorpions like outflank, right? They don't have.
Yeah, they outflank. They have like a native reserve. Yeah. But yeah, that's John was next to me for the team event game against Steven, who's usually in chat. But I ended up going first. I had all this 26 Cerberus Raiders on the line, and I pregame moved all of that. Yeah. And it was like, all right. And it was also sweep and clear, so it was a mission where if you touch it in the... if you hold it in your command phase, you hold it, so you can just walk off them. Yeah.
That worked out relatively well.
They were a problem. He had to put all his energy into dealing with them, which meant the rest of the army just got to do what it wanted.
Big Harley battalion with 4x5 troops with Embraces and Fusion, boats, then a spearhead with Dark Reapers and Doom Executioner Warlock. And that's a lot. I mean, I feel like the Harlequin... I don't know, that's like a decent amount of shooting, but that's not actually that much. I feel like the Sikaran and Cerberus Raiders are still going to be relatively good into that. Because if you can match them on speed and start picking them up, you have more pieces than they do.
Yeah, what you want to do against the boats is don't even bother killing them. Just surround them with your Cerberus Raiders. They can't disembark on their turn, and then you win the game because they're not doing anything.
That also works.
This is what I do against people. Oh, you showed up with your Drukhari Raiders and you're coming towards me? Great. They're all wrapped. You can't get disembark. Awesome. I've done this against so many people. James Kelling, Good night, sweet prince.
Oh, poor James.
Poor James. But he got, it was 3 raiders wrapped by my army at the Las Vegas team event.
That's not the right number.
Yeah. It's because if you don't destroy them, they can't emergency disembark. So
Yep.
if you're just in... AdMech have huge bases on the Cerberus Raiders and the Sicarans.
Yeah.
It's actually super easy to
And
surround.
even if you use the Desperate Breakout to kill the transport, they still can't charge afterwards.
Exactly. And yeah, I'm not worried about shooting. Johnny's used this trick with shooting units.
I use it on Sisters Rhinos when people try to wrap my transports. I will kill the transport with Desperate Breakout.
Potentially kill
just to get out. No, I will intentionally.
Intentionally kill it.
I leave it within an inch that it dies, and I get out because I do not tolerate people hiding from the wrath of the Emperor.
The wrath.
Yeah.
To the last, Rod, engage. Rod is so hard to score against my army.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get more than 4 points on that thing, good luck.
Everyone takes Rod, and I'm like, just take banners. Like,
But with Cerberus Raiders, it's so hard. You go second, and you're just not getting any.
yeah, but like, it's better than a 4 on Rod. You get some on banners. You can block out objectives and keep Cerberus Raiders from just turn 1-ing you.
Yeah.
Get some obsec on there.
You never know.
It's never a guarantee.
All I have to do is put one model touching it, though. And I can't raise the banner. I don't know. Also, to the last is interesting. Most Eldar lists are building around to the last. Mm-hmm. But, man, Cerberus Raiders love sniping those characters. So that Warlock, that Farseer, he needs to be really careful.
Yeah.
I mean, Eldari is in a bad spot overall. Mm-hmm. So trying to do what you can. Harlequins have great tricks on the mission.
I mean,
obviously, Mike is a super good player. So
he's done very well with that.
I'm going to say it's very much Mike playing amazingly well every game. Mm-hmm. That's how he's beating people with quote-unquote better codexes.
Makes sense to me.
Player skill does actually matter.
Who'd have thought? Where is I'm gonna go grab some black paint real quick. Okay. What else we got going on in that chat? I saw some Tyranid stuff. Want to talk more bugs?
He's just not shooting away a Raider unit because I'll put Ignore AP 1 and 2 on it and +1 save, and Dark Reapers are not doing anything against that.
I think this
you can shoot some fusion pistols, but at the point where you're shooting enough fusion pistols to actually kill a decent amount of the unit, they're all out in the open, and my Rangers are going to blow them apart.
Yeah, maybe his fusion pistols are better than mine, but mine are actually damage 1. It's the darndest thing. You remember that time I put 4 melted wounds on you and killed 1.5 models? It was just 1. All right, kills the next 1. CP 1. I'm like, all right.
That was what your sisters.
Yeah, that was brutal.
You're like, this is not the turn. This is not the turn.
Every time.
Every time.
I'm like, oh god, how does this keep happening?
Specifically, Cerberus Raiders got you several times. Where
I just roll ones.
Lives and then auto pass on the objective. You're like, oh.
Yes.
Can we not?
Could I please roll anything besides ones? Killing on a 2+. I thought this was good.
Man, Cerberus Raiders, what a unit.
What a unit.
Everybody was like, when the book came out, oh, they got nerfed. They're not 3 wounds anymore. It's a big deal. And I was like, buy me some more Cerberus Raiders. I need everyone possible.
Yeah. How many do you have now?
I have full 27 Cerberus Raiders, and then I have Sulfur Hounds as well. It's the appropriate amount. Always wishing this community the best. Keep rocking. Hope you're doing well as well, Nurgle Matt. You are
Nurgle Matt. The champion of Nurgle is in the chat.
He's a champion of a lot of things.
That's
not just
true.
Nurgle.
But also Nurgle.
Also Nurgle.
I mean, Mark is his herald, so.
He didn't. Nurgle Matt does not mess with To the Last.
No? Doesn't mess with To the Last?
To the Last is... I don't know. Every time people take To the Last against me, I'm like, I can just play more aggressively. Because if you're going to commit that unit early, it's dead.
Yeah.
And it kind of forces you into a game plan where you can't really use all your resources.
Yeah, I mean, some lists can build it in pretty well.
Yeah. Not every list.
Though. But a lot of the times, yeah. I see people doing math and making those hard choices when they start committing their To the Last units. I'm like, yeah. Feed me.
Yes. You're like, this is not going to work out well for you.
All right. A lot of black paint to add here. Look at this Ghost Arc coming together. What a model to assemble, right?
Yeah, it's like, why are there so many pieces on this thing?
It is insane how many pieces there are. Question, so the Start Collecting box is a Trigon as part of it. How do we feel about him? I think that the Trigon Prime is the best way to use that box right now.
What's his synaptic?
Fallback, shoot, and charge.
That's good.
That is actually really
That's
good.
good.
I don't think that a Trigon is really needed in competitive lists. So for me, I'm not putting any testing in with him. But also, like, if you want to build around him, a Trigon Prime is not bad. I think he's just Tyrannid's got a lot of improved options that the Prime didn't improve enough. But it's also a thing that's probably worth owning. Trigons are one of those iconic Tyrannid kits that I certainly expect to be relevant again in the future, even if not right now. So it's still that Start Collecting box, because I think it comes with a Trigon, a unit of Gene Stealers, and a Broodlord. It's still a pretty good box to get at least one of. I don't think you need two, but at least one, I would say.
Yeah. He says he makes one mistake and then it's game over. I mean, I can definitely see.
I can believe that with the
very
kind
much
of
like
list.
my Tau list at ACO, where
Yeah.
I could not make mistakes, and even small. It's not even like you make a huge mistake and you just lose the game. It's you make small positional errors, and all of a sudden you're in a really bad spot. So
Don't want that to happen.
I'm going to say that it's a lot. The vast majority of the success of that list is Mike being an extremely good player.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, he is. All right. So many arms. Why do Tyranids have so many arms? Do you think it's for the hugs?
Definitely.
I think
You
it's
got to
for
get in
hugs.
close. That's why they're also a melee faction. 'Cause
Absolutely.
You got to get in close to get the hugs.
Close up hugs. I mean, really, it's like a hug delivery service. You know, it's like hugs on the go. It's like, hey, I heard you wanted some hugs in your own deployment zone. Don't worry, we'll bring them to you.
John, why
Gene Stealers downtown.
are you still working on 6 Hive Guard and 2 bricks of Steelers as your core to Leviathan?
Yeah, 100%. I think 6 Hive Guard is the perfect number because more than that is just a little redundant and a lot expensive. So I still think 1 unit of Hive Guard is perfectly fine. I don't feel the need for 2. I do have 2 units painted, so like if I ever change my mind, it's there. But actually I have 3 units painted, but whatever. But for now, at least, I really feel like the Gene Stealers and speed with Swarmlord is still a very important part of the faction. So I want to try to keep that in. I've definitely thought about going 1 Stealer brick, but to me that kind of invalidates the Swarmlord. And as long as I'm taking the Swarmlord, I want units for him to move around.
Yeah. Multiple units.
Multiple units. I
Yeah,
don't
one
want
unit's
one
not
unit. 1 turn of Swarmlord is just not the same.
Yeah. The Games Workshop actually think this is a part of the Ghost Arc instructions.
All those warriors? Absolutely not.
We're going to skip right past that. They're going to stay on the sprue where they belong. Were you guys surprised to see no AdMech in the top 5 at the Stud Major last weekend? Absolutely not. AdMech is a really high skill cap army, and you see it at a lot of tournaments like those Games Workshop ones where there's usually only one stellar AdMech. There's usually only one stellar AdMech player up there at the top fighting for his faction. And at the end of the day, you know, the lesser AdMech players just don't make it. It's just
really,
a very hard
though,
army to play.
Get out of here. So I think the real thing is that we've seen AdMech be very hit or miss in tournament showings where they absolutely have the potential to just win it all or take undefeated top spots, but it's not happening everywhere. I think it's just whether or not players in a given area are actually committing to AdMech, because AdMech is definitely not an army you want to half-ass, is I think the much saner way to put it. So I didn't really look at the player base for the starter Snotling GT actually, but I could only assume that there weren't a ton of die-hard competitive AdMech players there. If there were and they didn't make it, then I certainly would be surprised.
They also didn't make top 4 at the SoCal Open Super Major.
True, but 2 of them made top 8.
They did?
They just both went down to Drukari in the first round.
I hate to see that.
Yeah. God, Nick. I hate him. Nick and I built these models and then Nick primed them, and it's incredible how much damage he was able to do touching them just a little bit.
Nick damage is insane damage.
Yeah,
it's a lot of damage.
It's a lot of damage.
Alright, what is going on?
What do you think about triple flame or cheap crisis suits? I gotta hear about that. What do you think?
No.
No? Oh,
The AP1 is not
sad.
where you want to be in this meta. There's too many abilities to ignore it. There's cover everywhere. Even though Tau has multiple ways to ignore cover, it's still just not enough. Even when you stack the Warlord trait for 6s or additional AP, it's still not doing enough. When you take the Crisis unit, it's still, I believe it's 135 points with the cheaper Flamers, where they went from 8 points to 5. I think it's 135 for 3 Flamer Crisis suits.
What is that, 45 per Crisis?
If the meta was just pure Tyranids and just cheap T3 bodies with terrible armor saves, you get me thinking about Flamer Crisis suits. The meta is so vehicle heavy that it just doesn't work.
I think I can agree on that one.
The only reason the one big Crisis unit works is because you can have your drones within range of it, and so you have enough pass-offs to keep it alive against AP3 and AP4, and then all the small arms fire don't matter because you can just soak that damage turn after turn. So thanks to that Crisis guy. So and then once that unit's committed, it kills a lot with all the missile pods. The other units do just die. Crisis suits actually aren't very good defensively without all the extra buffs, unfortunately.
Makes sense.
So yeah, I don't think Flamers. This is not the meta for Flamers.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, honestly. I kind of came to the same decision with some of my sister's list where I've started removing some of the Flamer weapons in favor of more Melta, just because of the way the meta is shifting. I think a couple of months ago you could really get away with a lot more Flamers, but the winds have shifted.
There's just so many vehicles.
There are too many, perhaps.
And then Orcs are going to be an incredibly difficult matchup for Tau, so you need as much anti-vehicle as possible.
Let's see. More limbs is more evolved? Yes. Absolutely. The mighty millipede is the most evolved. Is the most evolved creature here. 100%. All hail the mighty millipede. As well, crabs. Crabs are highly evolved specimens, and they have many more limbs than we do. So we should really bow down to the crabs and to all other four-armed, organisms.
Crab people.
Crab people. Crabs know. Nick likes to say that crabs know the secrets of the universe. We don't know why he says that, but he does like to say it. It's because they're highly evolved. Alrighty. Clown Mode is asking, how can sisters beat Grey Knights? I actually, I don't think it's an unwinnable match at all. I think you need to go heavier on Melta and kind of abandon the Flame or Mortal Wound approach. So I've actually been thinking about taking one of my Dominion squads and making them Meltas as opposed to Stormbolters to get a little bit more damage out of those transports. And I think I'm going with a third Retributor squad and a lot more multi-Meltas in those Retributor squads, just to make sure I have enough punch to cut through Dread Knights every time they fail a save. As well, I do like the idea of adding an Exorcist, purely to have a long-range gun that can reach out, target Dread Knights, and similar things. How's this Ghost Start coming along?
Just tons of pieces.
Tons of pieces?
I'm building the front part. I completed the back part of the Ghost Start.
Yeah, that's good. There's a lot in there. I've heard that it's one of the more difficult kits to physically assemble because it's so big and it glues up weird spots. I've heard it's like drop pod levels of annoying.
I haven't found it annoying. It's just a lot of pieces.
Yeah. I've actually never built a drop pod. Every drop pod I've ever owned has been bought used because
There's so many.
There's so many used drop pods floating around, and because there's so many flat surfaces, it's not that big a deal if you buy one like used or painted. It's so easy to strip it and repaint it.
Why do people use Dune Riders for Ruststalkers? The main reason you would use the transport is to get eradication of the flesh points if you don't want to run the other vehicles. Mm-hmm. And then if you put Ruststalkers inside, instead of having to give them the plus 3-inch move from the Canic Thrall net or just being in that turn, you get the 3-inch disembark.
Nice.
It just means you can't put any command phase buffs on them, which is fine if you're running Mars or just, like Ryza or whatever it is. It's perfectly fine. You can instead spend different strats to help buff them up. But if you want to buff them with the Thrall net, then they have to be out of the transport.
Yeah.
But it gives them a little bit extra movement right up against Ruin. And you can use that as a relay system for OBSEC as well. It's a decent transport. It's overpriced by probably at least 10 points.
I feel like a lot of the Imperium transports are just like 10 points more than you'd be.
Yeah, they're a little too expensive.
Yeah.
It's a good utility piece, but if it was a bit cheaper, then I'd be more excited about running.
Can you give Impulsors fly again? They don't need a 4-up invuln, to be clear. I'm not asking for
fly
Impulsors.
-2 to charge, baby. Let's go.
There were a lot of things wrong with the old Impulsor, and they solved
all of them.
4 out of 3 of them. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
Yeah, I get it. They were too cheap, so they went up in points. They had a 4-up invuln they didn't need, so went to a 5-up invuln. They're -2 to charge that they didn't need, so that became a strat. Fly, I didn't think was the problem, but don't worry, they took care of that too.
I think still more heinous is the monolith losing fly.
The monolith should absolutely fly.
It's the one thing it does, John. It flies. It's a towering. It's a towering flying pyramid.
I'm with you. The monolith and all of the new. What's up, Tim Penny? All of the new Space Marine tanks need to fly. Like, holy goodness. All
What's
the
up,
Primaris
Tim?
ones.
Thanks so much for $5 super chat. We were talking about you earlier. We were saying you were a busy, busy man, but also a really good friend.
Always.
Are Imperial Guard any good?
The Canadian supplement, I think, actually does help a lot. They're still kind of a flawed 8th edition book in that they have a couple of really hard matchups where fast combat armies are a real challenge for them.
Combat armies.
Hey, I'm combating here. Yeah, I think they still have some flaws, but they did get a nice little boost from the Canadian supplement. I think it's probably the best way to play them. It's certainly on the same level at minimum as the custom regiment, so it's nice to have more options for Guard. But I think they're still probably a little bit of a level below some of the other things in the game right now.
And they need a fundamental rewrite.
They need a codex. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but at least the recent rules update gave them some legs while you wait. If you're a diehard Guard player, Guard have a lot of diehard players. Like, let's be honest here, every Space Marine player like has another army that they're ready to switch to at a moment's notice. I feel like Guard players, like the Treadheads, they are committed to that.
They just have so much Guard. They have so many regiments, John. It's when you collect Guard and you finished your first part of your collection, it's new regiment time.
Absolutely, it is.
You just
I'm actually at that point where I'm like looking around. I'm like, maybe it's time to get a bunch of plastic Krieg. Tim Penny is looking for Australian Outbacks hats for his Beast Naga models. Tim, you got to 3D print that. Like, there has to be like an easy 3D printable, like nice Outback cowboy hat. Because if you can give every single Beast Naga like a nice Crocodile Dundee, like in like the boss who's holding up the Ooge chopper, it's like, that ain't a chopper. This is a chopper. Like, you got to do that, right?
We're having a team event which is intentionally meant to be fun, thematic. What would you take to such an event?
Oh, what would I take? Ooh.
Thematic and fun?
I mean, thematic and fun. Like, is it like it's supposed to be like?
Are you supposed to win or?
Well, here's the question: Is it like a 5-man team event, or is it like a doubles where like your armies are supposed to work together? Because if so, I would say you should take Tyranid. I would say you should take Guard and Genestealer Cult and spend the entire weekend refusing to acknowledge that there's any Genestealer Cult on the table. Like, what are you talking about? We're just playing Guard. Just everything's loyal. You just got to keep it up the whole time and get little forehead tattoos. Right, Richard? Will you get a forehead tattoo with me?
No.
Okay. The Patriarch's gonna come have a word with you. Get a little mind control in there.
Send the Patriarch in.
What are you gonna do? Shoot him with like multiple Leman Russ and
I'm gonna get the Mechadendrites out, John.
No, not the Mechadendrites.
12 attacks. Oh no! Not like this.
No, not like this. Remember that time Nick like tried to kill a Patriarch by like putting nothing in line of sight of it?
Yep.
Just in front of his
I was
army.
there on the PC.
I was like, oh buddy.
And I called it. I called my shot. I was like, this is 100% living.
100%, not even a choice. It's like, so I didn't even roll that hot on saves. Nick was just like, what if I leave everything down to random shot weapons?
Well, John, he had to put an entire 10-man unit of special of veterans into acolytes.
Yep, and then like I had 4 more units in line of sight of only that. I'm like, oh no. Oh man.
Don't give this man too many guns.
Do not give Nick too many guns. He doesn't know what to do. It's a dangerous world out there.
He puts the guns down and is like, all right, just pick up your army. Like, this is how it's supposed to work, right?
Like, no. All right. These arms are coming along.
Is the issue with the meta a solid problem, or is it simply lack of creative list design?
I don't think it's that.
I think it is called the Games Workshop design team not understanding what they're putting out.
I think the biggest problem right now is that there are several overtuned armies that are specifically in very different directions. Like, we've had points where one army is too good, and then everyone kind of techs for that, right?
Yep, like when Drukhari were just the hot.
Yeah, but even when we all teched for it, they still did pretty well, turns out.
Yeah.
But like not to that level though. Like we've had metas though where there's one slightly too good army. Like I think when Space Marines were the best army in the game, early 9th edition, I think it worked out because everyone was taking anti-Space Marine tech. So we didn't see Space Marines just be a dominant, constant problem. However, Drukhari do exist, despite our best efforts. No, I think that just a couple of the overperformers need a little bit of a love tap because it's very hard to build the counters to orcs and AdMech that keep Drukhari in mind. Like, I've written a lot of lists that I genuinely think would absolutely dumpster any ramshackle list out there. Not even a question, not even a choice. This is happening. And I don't think I could beat Drukhari once in 10 games with him.
Yeah.
So striking that balance in the face of multiple extremities is a very difficult prospect for a lot of 8th edition armies. I think that's the biggest problem, is that a lot of the 8th edition armies feel kind of forced out of the game.
Yep.
So, because that's not what I want. I want people to be able to use their toys. Unless they're Drukhari players. Did I say that?
No toys.
No toys. No toys for you.
Let's see. $5 super chat from Simon Feldman. Thank you so much, Simon. What's up, guys? How can I make Raven Guard work?
By going first. I'm kidding. Actually, I think it is taking the Phobos redeploy trait so that you have the ability to redeploy a lot of units and you don't have to put all of your eggs in the go first basket. So you can still get some midfield board control with some units. And also you want to really be able to reorient your plan if you go second. So I think you can make it work by taking a secondary and a mission game plan that involves going second. Think about taking Oath of Moment in every game and being able to have fast units to reach out into the center and a lot of fast things that way. But also, if you go first, you just redeploy your entire army onto the 9 inches away from your enemy unit and just go in.
Just go.
Yeah, you just go in at that point.
Tyranids 1-0.
I would cry.
You need the blips.
If I went second against Raven Guard with the Tyranid list that I'm playing on stream tomorrow, I don't actually think I would wait for their movement phase to go get lunch. It is done. But
remember that in old 8th edition?
Flips. I really, you know what?
It was wild.
Yeah, I went second against Raven Guard and got charged by 10 Centurions against the old man on
Currently searching eBay for Australia. Oh, you saw that.
Yep. Tim, 3D print those and send me
3D print.
pictures. Oh, I do want to see this a lot.
3-man team event and you're trying to win, but you get minus points for bringing meta stuff. Who decides?
I mean, Tyranids might not be considered meta, but are totally good. I think you go with a nasty and very fluffy guard list. Because Guard is very vulnerable to a lot of meta lists, but they can hit a lot of the mid-tier stuff really well.
You should bring the Mechanicus defense cohort. It is the one set of rules that AdMech got that is actually really bad.
Oh, Knight Freeblades. You gotta go Knights.
Knight Freeblades with the Mechanicus defense cohort.
Knight Freeblades.
Freeblades are better than the defense cohort.
Yeah, that's very true.
They got some decent stuff. It's the fact that the robots, whatever gets the extermination protocol, also then can't benefit from Forge World traits. It's why there's so many restrictions on this. You can't take any Skitarii units. It's so bad.
What do you want?
I'm just saying that's non-meta. He could take that. $10 super chat from Mr. Mato. Hey John, I admit I am concerned you were trolling us about The Exorcist. That thing has been disappointment on tracks in 9th edition. Still might be desperate enough to try it at my next event.
You know what?
Thanks,
if you're crazy enough to try it, Matt, I say go for it.
John did try it.
I did try it. I admittedly,
it was also a disappointment on wheels.
It was still a disappointment on wheels, but I don't think it got a fair shake. You saw what happened that game.
I saw what happened.
I'm so glad I had
because it happened to me the game before.
It's what is happening?
When Black Templars make every save, it is really hard to kill those bricks.
You just can't. I'm what is going on here?
But at least in the Necron game, I had warriors, which Jack found equally unkillable.
Yeah, and I was just getting like rinsed off the table. I'm like, what is going on here?
Like John put everything, including a full break of Repentia, and they were still OPSEC. There were like 6 OPSEC models still on the objectives. It's like, can we just not?
It was the Meltas that was insulting. 16 multi-Melta shots, also ignoring penalties with full, like rerolls, killing not 1, killing 0 like Primaris bodies. I'm like, what?
These are taking 4 up invul, 5 up Fiona Pains, and John rolled poor on damage, but also
poor on hits and poor on wounds, and then Jack rolled well on saves. I'm like, well, I can't do anything about that.
And then the Redemptor lived with 1 wound where John split damage, and that also didn't pay off.
I mean, I put 4 mortal wounds into a 1 wound Redemptor.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was a good insurance policy. It's like, all right, if I split and it doesn't work, I can just do 4 mortals to it, and that's 1 wound left. I'm sure this will be fine. It was not. It was not fine.
You say about my 5-ups. Jack has a whole different game going on.
Not every time, but every once in a while, Jack decides. And then everyone else is removed from the conversation. I'm like, man, what are you doing over here, Jack?
Well, he did it twice in a row.
He did it twice in a row with Black Templars.
Black Templars are undefeated in like spectacular fashion.
And he's down on them. He's like, yeah, I just don't think they're good. I'm like, Jack, you just ran me and Richard over. And he's like, no, it wasn't fun.
He's 3-0 with them.
He's like, it's not fun. I'm like, Jack, you beat the brakes out of my sister's list. Like, what are you doing here, man? Like, what kind of bar are you trying to hold here? It's like, I think I'm gonna go buy a Tyranid army. I'm like, what are you doing, Jack?
Please.
Are you kidding me?
John, do you think your new sister's list with Melta Spam is also better into orcs or specifically Grey Knights?
It is much better into both, I think. I think it is much better into both.
And you definitely need to be thinking about both of those.
Yeah. Which is weird because Grey Knights seem to be very regional in where they're having success. Unfortunately, that region is 10 feet away from my bedroom. So I do need to think about that.
GSC face tattoo?
Nurgle
mad is about the face tattoo.
100%.
Needs to happen.
It's like the little the forehead ridges. That'd be a good Halloween costume. Get someone who's good at makeup prosthetics, and just dress up as a normal person with the ridge and just. It needs to be like a 40K player Halloween costume because all my normal friends would be like, John, what are you doing? I'm like I'm a gene stealer, and they're like get that nerd shit out of here.
Would love to see Rhinos go to 65, Argent Shroud, Cherub, Designer Commentary, and Buggy's Planes Love Taps.
I think Rhinos need to be at least 10 cheaper. I wouldn't mind 15, but at least 10. And you know what? You can take the AdMech transport down too, as long as everything else in that codex goes up 50 points a model.
Hey, the Mechanica stuff. The Call Mechanica stuff.
50 points a model.
That's not going to happen, John. You're going to be disappointed.
That's true.
You know what's going to happen is a bunch of AdMech stuff is going to go up, and then Cerberus Raiders stay the same or get a point reduction because nobody else uses them.
That is not at all true.
John's going to flip.
You already have 27. It's not like you're going to take more.
No, but then I can start squeezing in Sulfur Hounds.
Yeah, you're acting like you haven't won 2 super majors with these. Get out of here. Is it time to discuss AOW Halloween costumes? Adam Lane, I'm still taking suggestions.
Why am I building more Necrons?
It's all part of the plan.
It's all part of a long-term plan.
The long-term plan.
I don't really have anything to build right now because I have all the AdMech that I need. And Necrons is the faction I have a ton of boxes. I bought a lot of stuff in anticipation of the Codex, and then most of that stuff was trash. So I've slowly been adding stuff to it. I haven't even gone back and built the Psychomancer or the Flayed ones. There's a monolith sitting in the closet. There's a Tesseract vault.
Are you willing to commit to having the monolith ready for a Christmas Apocalypse game?
If we want Necrons, Lyle has to tell us if Necrons.
That's true. Lyle, are you in here?
Lyle, if you're still in here, tell us what those factions are going to be. Because if Necrons is one of them, hell yeah, the monolith is going in.
Oh, it's got to be a monolith.
I'm going to disembark that 10-man Lich Guard unit 3 inches away and just go to town.
Nick's going to complain that you're heroically intervening. It's going to be great.
I'm playing too serious.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
I'm playing way too serious. John, we were playing way too serious when your hand flamers cleared the space for my Vespid mass Vespid army to come in.
The mass Vespid.
Too serious. Please.
Let's just use Vespid out here. What do you want?
We had fun that game.
Too serious.
Darn too serious. Lyle, tell us about this Apocalypse game.
Lyle, they're special factions?
Special factions.
Lyle, what does that mean? I mean, like, I'm down for special, like, trick factions, but I do need to have it painted, so,
if you want any of it painted, you're gonna
if
have
you
to
want
get
it
some
painted
details.
and or assembled, you may need to let us know.
Yeah, well in advance. Because Nick is not going to do any of the work
That's
for
certainly true.
painting any of the models.
I mean, the Harlequins, though, they should be ready for Christmas apocalypse.
I don't think so.
No?
Nope, but that's amazing because we're going to get some really nice
Return of the King.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. All right, we have a lot of people in here. I think I should tell the Tyranid Warrior story.
Yeah, tell the Tyranid Warrior story.
All right, so oh boy, so Tyranid Warriors. I had a lot of Tyranid Warriors from my old Tyranid army.
So did I.
That they were built many years ago. They're not particularly well painted, and that's fine. You know, this is a high school project for me. So Nick found them in a drawer, and he was like thinking of taking 9 Tyranid Warriors in a string game. And he's like, "Hey John, do you mind if I like prime over these and like put them on stream?" And I'm like, "You know what? Honestly, these were painted pretty poorly a very long time ago. Let's do it. Like let's prime them, and Nick's gonna paint them." So to do that, to just repaint the models for a stream, the thing we agreed on, he decides to cut all their ankles off. Not at the feet. He cuts them at the ankles so that he can rebase them. And it was painful to watch. But he did start priming and painting them. And while he did this, he unfortunately a couple of arms which were magnetized on the new stuff, because I'd built some new warriors and magnetized them in preparation for when this day would eventually come. And thank God it's here. I did this a long time ago, but I had 3 like
planned generations.
Generations of the making. I had 3 warriors that were like fully magnetized arms, unprimed, on the right base size, just kind of waiting. And some of those magnets came off, so Nick decided, for the sake of time, he was going to just glue the arms into the magnetized sockets.
Lyle's saying it's going to be Santa's workshop. Santa's elves, who build the toys, the elves, the guard, the knights, the Tau, and the Necrons, up against Jack Skellington,
Okay.
versus the War on Christmas, which is Marines, Chaos Marines, Tyranids, Orcs, and Demons.
That is very specific factions. All right, Lyle Dixon, I'm about it. Let's freaking do it.
Who's supposed to be on which side?
We have 5 in here now, yeah. So elves.
I assume
guard,
Nick and Mark are together in the forces of War on Christmas.
Yeah, so we were thinking also that we should get the red gobbo, like the Santa Grot.
Oh, it should definitely be you, me, and Jack then.
Yeah,
he says Jack Skellington.
He's gonna send us the rules later. Okay, Lyle. I'm a little bit scared, but yeah, let us know.
Hey, the knights are gonna soak the fire for the model that's really shine.
Hey, I'm always happy to get those knights on stream. You know.
And hey, Elliot is sending us a Gauss pylon because he really wants me to run it for some reason. So
Perfect.
we can get the Gauss pylon going.
You know, if he sends me a Hierophant, I'll run it. That's all I'm saying.
How do you see AdMech lists evolve if their flyers get nerfed? Pray that orcs also get nerfed at the same time, then you can go back to running the other stuff.
Yeah.
Otherwise, AdMech is just going to have a really tough matchup at orcs. Gonna guess that Nick didn't finish this project. Nick has a lot of work to do on the Harlequins army.
Nick's got a lot of projects.
Thought your video yesterday with the old man was fantastic, talking about the state of the game. Hey, appreciate that. We just tried to be honest because we're also frustrated with the state of the meta.
Yeah.
It's so stagnant, and it doesn't have to be. It's like modicum of effort put in. You can block out 8 hours on a weekend. Boom, the game is fine again.
You could send me a Facebook message and I'll block out 8 hours on a
Exactly.
weekend.
Anybody with a competent brain could go ahead and fix the game in a matter of a single day. But that apparently is far beyond the powers of Games Workshop. And it's unfortunate because it's so easy. That's the frustration. It literally is so easy. We're not trying to nerf hammer things out of the game, just small point tweaks here and there. Just
I'm really hoping that they come back to the big FAQs that they were doing.
It was good.
It was a good time.
Yep. Now they still left things in there. It wasn't perfect, but it helped.
I feel like if you do it every 4 months, 3 a year, I think is the right number.
It made them seem responsive and understanding that things are going on.
Because I also get that if things get nerfed like a month, like nerfing Grey Knights right now, I think would be too much.
Yeah.
Because they haven't been out that long.
I think it's
and they haven't been dominant, just very good.
I think it's the same case with Grey Knights as it is for Orcs, is that their other stuff needs to be buffed. Because
Orcs
their other options just aren't that good.
Grey Knights are certainly mono-build.
Drukhari and Admech are the ones where they have a lot of options that are all very good. And so
and those are the two armies that have gotten some nerfs, but it hasn't slowed them down at all. Like in the slightest.
I did slow Admech down more than did Drukhari. Week to week, there are weeks with very poor win percentage.
Yeah, but they've still won 3 super majors since then.
You're welcome.
Okay.
If I didn't show up to them, John, Admech was not winning any.
Then I would have brought Admech. Like, get out of here.
You wouldn't have, because you wouldn't have needed to bring Admech.
That's true.
Super majors are not the only qualifying factor, but the win rates.
Yeah. Win rates are certainly real.
Yeah. But Drukhari and Admech had absurd win rates. Over 80%. Like, it has gone down. It is not that crazy, but it's still very high.
Still pretty good.
You guys are trying to make it out like Admech is Iron Hands. Iron Hands was straight up broken.
Iron Hands was a different.
That was a different beast.
I don't think that
these armies aren't just absurdly where you have no chance to win whatsoever.
I don't think that anything we have right now is as bad as Iron Hands. I'll happily say that. And emphasis on happily. I do not want that to exist ever again.
What are some of these fixes? Just small points tweaks. You don't need to go crazy on it.
Like I actually would prefer to see rules tweaks than on points tweaks. I would love to see before we do like points nerfs on Admech. I think Drukhari is the only army that needs like heavy sweeping points changes. But I would love to see with Admech like limits on how many command phase abilities unit can be targeted on, similar to what Tyranid's just got. Orcs, I would love to see some changes to Speedwog, where it's not an AP buff for 2 turns. Frankly, I would rather it never be an AP buff. I would like it instead be like 1 turn of Daka Daka. I'd also love it if Freebooters had a cap on how many pluses you could get. Because, like, when, like, my -3 to hit Venoms are getting, like, +4 to hit, like, Freebooters targeting them, it's like, okay. Like, +4, huh?
And then Logan's were at plus
15.
infinite.
Yeah.
That was amazing. How many pluses can Freebooters actually stack up in a single turn? And man, we found it.
Matto, how many? 1 more time, apparently. They just want it 1 more time.
They haven't even started etching the Thunderhammer yet.
They're just... on the other hand, the template's going to be very cheap. You're really saving the money here.
Yeah. That's my main goal. Say Games Workshop some money here. Games Workshop approach you, so you guys need your help to decide the next army to squat. What army do you pick and why?
Yunari.
Yunari is a good one.
Yeah, that's a serious answer, by the way. Just like they don't contribute to the game.
Yeah, I would say the Marines and Chaos supplements. Like let's tighten these things up. We don't need
I like those actually.
Do we need 7 different Marine supplements?
I mean, I think that they could spread it out and give other armies more love in the interim, but I don't think that's the problem.
Yeah. I just don't think it's necessary. Just have a small, 2 pages in the codex for each faction.
Yeah, I think Yunari, because their main faction rules are hyper confusing, irrelevant, and don't have a model line support. Just keep the named characters as an Inquisitor style character that you slot into the other ally factions, right?
Yeah, I mean Yunari they just have no reason to exist.
Yeah, just you can take one of these 3 characters and they provide a small buff to the rest of the detachment.
They have yet to find a way to make that Yunari an
army. Yeah, it's either incredibly broken or irrelevant. These are their options. I'm like, okay. Yunari fluff is fine, but they should certainly stay relevant in the fluff. But also, it hasn't changed in 6 years. They had a really cool fluff when they came out, and then 8th edition dropped, and they just stopped acknowledging Yunari. Other than I'm sure they're going to do something soon, though. We're like, yeah, I bet they will. They haven't. I remember when you guys did Iron Hands versus the more broken Yunari, and they wiped the floor with them.
Yeah. Nick was very confident as Yunari, and I was like, okay.
That's not.
Let's get serious.
No way.
Oh, you want to do double actions? Guess what? You can't kill anything.
Yeah.
So welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to Iron Hands. That was fun. Am I right in saying that Warrior Blobs could see more love if Orc Speed Daka is a thing?
Are we talking Tyranid Warriors or Necron Warriors?
Yes, Tyranid Warriors. No, Necron Warrior Blobs. Necron Warrior Blobs are just overcosted, honestly. They just need to go down a couple points. The support needs to go down a bit, and they're in a fine place. They're actually one of the better data sheets that Necrons have access to. Honestly, in my opinion, one of the top 3. So small points decrease. Necrons just need a lot of love rules wise. Their rules are terrible. They have 8th edition rules and 9th edition in their codex.
8th edition rules with core restrictions?
Yes.
Not what you want.
Exactly. So they just need to go back and just rewrite command protocols and how core works for them.
I always forget command protocols exist. I really do.
They are terrible, pretty mediocre buffs and require 4 different hoops to jump through.
Yeah.
None of which are easy. They're like an army of renown type of rule where you have serious restrictions in how you can access them, and then you get mediocre buffs.
Necrons should have an army of renown.
They should have. So the short version of the Apocalypse Factions is I wanted you guys to be able to put as many giant toys on the table as possible. We're going to put giant toys.
We're going to put some tanks down, that's for sure.
John, do you have any of the big Baneblade
chassis? I don't, but I think one of our local friends does, so I might see if I can snag that for the weekend. Because I'm totally down to get some big guard tanks in.
We got this.
We got this. No worries.
Nick and Mark again huddled up together in the forces of evil.
Always. Lyle, if you send me a Shadow Sword, I will airbrush it. 100%. If you want to send me a Shadow Sword for this Apocalypse game, I will absolutely paint it. I will paint it lovingly. I will cherish that. If you want that on the Apocalypse game, you let us know. We'll make it happen. Game is going to use normal 9th edition rules with the exception the Apocalypse rule from last edition where models aren't removed from the table until the end of the turn. Oh, you got to see the big toys do their thing. Okay. I think we'll have to put that on tanks. I don't know if we can do that on infantry. I think every vehicle model should it'll get to
every
stay
super
for the turn.
heavy.
At least every super heavy. But I don't know. I was planning to put all 6 Leman Rust down. I painted 6 Leman Rust. Let me put 6 Leman Rust down.
Let's see.
I'm excited for this, Lyle. This is a wonderful Christmas present.
There was a question. What greater demon is the best to bring if you want to just bring him back multiple times in the Grey Knight matchup?
I feel like it's the Lord of Change, right?
It's the Lord of Change.
That dude is a pain. I like Keepers a lot.
It's actually the Great Unclean one with the 4 of Feel No Pain, but he is so bad in other matchups that you shouldn't be tailoring for Grey Knight specifically.
No, because if you're going to do a Relic Warlord trait combo, I think it's got to be that Lord of Change.
Yeah, it's the Lord of Change really, but the Great Unclean one is more annoying for them to deal with.
Yep, that's true. Since we're in a flyer meta, thoughts on Harridan? Oh my goodness, you're reading my mind. The Harridan and the Hierophant, both fantastic. Absolutely love them.
Same list.
100%.
The Harridan, the Hierophant show up with a bunch of rippers.
I don't have either of them, unfortunately. I was actually looking at scoring a Hierophant for the Apocalypse game, but just to get more big toys down. But unfortunately, we do not have. We might be able to talk to Frosty Forge and see if we can borrow his Warhound for the Apocalypse game. Maybe we get a Warhound on one side, a Revenant. Where Eldar and Elves and Imperial Guard were on the same side.
They're on the same side.
I mean, yeah, we shouldn't have the Warhound on the same side as the Revenant. That's probably bad for someone.
Can we get the Manta Fund going? Because the Manta is legit good.
Yeah. Get the Manta Fund going. Fat Dingo, get out of here. I'm going to stop Brad.
Can you imagine me dropping an entire Tau army out of it on a turn?
Right. Fat Dingo, I will put a stop to Mr. Chester. Not to worry. Actually,
I already did.
Actually, let's be clear here. Games Workshop is going to stop Mr. Chester. There's a chapter approved coming out before LVO, hopefully. A points drop, a something. Anything, please. And if there is, we know what's happening to Drukhari. We know what's happening.
Just send me to the events that Brad's playing at, and I'll bring all the flyers.
Yeah. I mean, last year they dropped their little points FAQ in January, the first week of January, right? Mm-hmm. So if they do that again, Boom, Drukhari out. Brad stopped. Loses LV outdone. Could call it a Chaos Warhound. That's true. We could get a Chaos Warhound in there.
Can we get the Townar back?
Oh, the Townar is right. The Townar is going to be in.
It's got to be in.
I mean, the Townar is standing.
It's Nick's favorite.
It's standing vigil, right? I'm greater than Cleveland for the win, says Nurgle Matt. 100%. You got to go something, Nurgle. The Townar is an important job. It really does.
All right. What do we need here? Piece 14. Oh, I have to put all the little Gauss pieces on.
Yeah, you got to put all those Gauss blasters on.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
This is where it gets annoying.
Yeah, I bet it is.
I've reached the point where this is annoying. And I didn't even put the Warriors on.
No?
Man,
no
if you put the
worries.
Warriors on the Ghost Arc.
It takes a long time to assemble. Yeah, it's a lot of effort. Yeah, I applaud people who like put the Warriors in the Ghost Arc. I feel like they're just there to be basing material, though. Let's be honest.
They are great basing material.
Mm-hmm. Start putting them on the bases of my Death Watch. No, I'm just kidding. I have Drukhari there. There's always room for more like witch corpses.
That's where Drukhari belong.
Absolutely on bases. Drukhari basing material is a real thing.
Is there a succubus on there?
I have witches and I think I have Talos and Kronos on my Death Watch bases. But I could definitely work in a little bit more.
Look forward to Nurgle Matt resurrecting Nick's nightmare from last time and just resurrecting the Townar repeatedly to kill Nick's favorite toys.
That is what we're doing.
He was not pleased.
No, he was. That was the best stream Nick's ever had. He wanted to do it again, so much that we're doing it again. I know, I'm really excited for Christmas Apocalypse. That was a fun little adventure we were on last time.
The double shooting John.
I mean, if the Townar's not shooting twice, how do you know it's there, right?
That was amazing.
You gotta know that there's...
Its weapons got better since that time.
Oh, good.
Its defense got worse, but who cares about defense in this Apocalypse game? It's
Absolutely.
offense,
It's gonna fire
baby.
anyways, yeah.
All that stuff is blast now, John. How's the playstyle for Tyranids? Still very similar.
I think so. I think Tyranids are just better at it.
Yeah, they just do their stuff.
More tricks, more board control, more offense.
Which is great, because it's a cool style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very much like a harassing, playing the mission style, where Tyranids do damage, but they have fragile pieces they have to protect. Yo, Nurgle Matt is blessing us with the 7s! Thank you so much, Nurgle Matt. You are a hero.
Nurgle Matt! That Townar is gonna be on the board, don't you worry.
Not to worry. Nurgle Matt, I hope you are as hyped for Christmas Apocalypse as we are, and as inevitably Nick will be.
Can we get Fate Weaver back?
Oh yeah, why? Fate Weaver should be...
Fate Weaver vs. Farsight Part 2. Can Fate Weaver escape?
I cannot believe that you actually pulled that off.
That was the only thing I cared about in that game. Was
you made it. You pulled it off. You did. I just cannot believe that he let it happen. Glargify is asking if I'm having fun with Knights. Absolutely. I love Imperial Knights. They were super fun. I had a really good weekend at Crucible with them. Got my highest ever paint score, which I was very, very proud of. Got 3rd place at a major in paint, which if you've known me for the extent of my 40K career, you would know that is major progress. We'll see. These Warriors are actually not looking too bad. We'll get them there.
Once Nick starts on them, there's so much room for improvement.
I had to cover up as much of that as I could as quickly as possible, really. I couldn't let it stand.
Glad to see the Acolytes in the recent Custodes game. What are the hopes, thoughts for the new Codex? And he was actually fun. He went in and Mark brought that Mega Dread.
Yeah. Did he just cut it in half?
Cut it completely in half.
Yeah, as he should. He's like D3 plus 3 damage. Strength
flat 3 plus D3. Yep.
Like strength 16 or something?
Strength
14, 16?
No, strength 14. He's strength 7 times 2.
That's enough.
Yep, that's enough. He came in there. I specifically gave him Eternal Penitent for that.
I still actually have an Acolyte Nuance Brew. We should see if we can get to commemorate this. We should see if we can get a Killacan or a Death Dread and just have him just planting it. Because I like basing my models with other people in Streamhouse's armies. I actually really enjoy that. I've got my sisters have Emperor's Children on the bases. Call out Mark.
We could cut the Dread in half and have it on both sides with him with the spear, just having cleave through it.
You know what? The starter box comes with a Death Dread. I bet a lot of people have them lying around.
It's over there. We have it lying around.
We have a Death Dread?
It's probably in
No,
that box.
not the Beast Sniper box.
Okay.
The starter box. The one that Charlie got
just got 3 of them.
There's no way he needs 3 Death Dreads.
No.
Oh, we could make it work.
He doesn't.
He does not need 3 Death. No, I mean, no one. He doesn't
even need one.
He doesn't need one, but he'll keep 2. We should see if we can snag that for a little bit of hobby project.
Beast snag it.
Beast snag it. Oh, there we go. Dread snag us. Let's add a little bit more blue here.
For the new Custodies, if Custodies get a book, I would really like them to... I just want them to have smaller squads, but they do more. And I want them to have like an achievement system. Like...
earning names.
Yeah.
100%. That's honestly my favorite part of Custodies. Like, lore is like all their names.
Yeah.
Like, it's so
the blood games,
badass.
like, you should have... each Custodian unit that accomplishes a certain task gets a different buff. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I can see it. There's a lot of options there, so
Yeah.
I'm curious to see. Yeah, I'm really excited about new Custodies if they get rules, but because it's coming at the same time as Genestealer Cult, I'll probably let Richard be our main Custodies guy.
I hope Shadowkeeper stays.
Which means for an absolute solid fact that Jack is going to pretend he's been a Custodies player this whole time for a week.
For a week.
Like it's Thousand Suns.
But I really hope Shadowkeepers survives. I hope they combine a couple of them and have more of those buffs central. I don't want them to do what they did with the Grey Knights, where they spread everything far too thin. So
yeah, but
like
the
Brotherhoods were that good.
Yeah, but that's true.
So to pick like three of the Custodian things and give them really good rules.
I'd love to see it.
How do you guys feel about Mortal Wound Bomb, Libby, and Grey Knights? He is so inconsistent as to be almost pointless to rely
I am
on.
not scared of him.
He's easy to screen. Like, every good army has cheap screens that you're going to see at the top tables.
Yep.
He's not good in the mirror matchup.
No.
Cool. I don't think he's very good.
Yeah.
He requires CP too. You like have to dedicate CP when you don't want to towards that. So I don't like him.
He just seems to soak up a lot of the things that you want to be putting elsewhere in the army.
How about a Castellan against this orc meta?
You know what? We actually saw a Castellan get a top 4 spot at an event recently.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was like the Cornhusker GT, which was like a 40-man in the Midwest. Cornhusker makes me assume that it was in Nebraska, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I think that now is as good of a time as you're going to get if you have a Castellan you want to bust out, and many of us do. You have one. I actually don't have a Castellan, oddly enough.
No, but you're welcome to borrow it, and since John runs free blades,
yeah, it would work in there.
I have 2 knights.
Yes, I have 3. Actually, I have 4. I have the
John could have the Valiant.
I will have the Valiant. I don't know when we're getting a Knight Codex. I haven't heard any rumors about it, which is sad. But like at some point we're getting a Knight Codex, and when we do,
I'm glad they're waiting on Knights because they do need to innovate with them.
Yeah, Knights.
They don't just need increased weapon profiles.
That
is not what they need.
Yeah, I would love to see Knights get a lot of changes. I actually, my like fervent hope is that Knights don't have the limit of Codex secondaries, because Knights just like can't take secondaries from the rulebook half the time. I would really love it if like Knights like were able to use like all 3 different Codex secondaries, or like they have a strat to like pick a second Codex secondary. Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Codex secondaries are. I just assume that they will be appropriately knightly. But that's like the biggest thing with Knights right now, is that sometimes you get a game where you just can't take a secondary. And it's like, oops. Like I took Grind Them Down. I took Stranglehold. And oh my god, I have 2 models left. It's over. It's like, dang it.
No.
That happens.
And engage.
Yeah, like that happens so often.
Oh no.
Get another good little Lothran blue in here. Lothran blue is a good color.
Lothran is just a cool place.
That's probably true. I imagine there's a lot of cool people in Lothran.
It's a very powerful seaport. What secondaries are good for NIDs? They have a lot of good options. You have to build them in though. Yeah,
Tyranids and Genestealer Cult are really good at Rod. They're also just generally good at banners and engage. So engage or stranglehold, they have fast moving obsec that can move around the board. I actually think Tyranids like engage more than stranglehold sometimes, just in case someone blobs up on an objective, you don't want to lose your points, and you want to be able to score while ignoring people. And you have so many fast units. Yeah. Alrighty here.
When you pick secondary armies, do you go by rule of cool, similar playstyle, opposite playstyle?
I usually do rule of cool, and like my secondary armies, I actually do consider like the theme a lot. Like when I'm trying to win a tournament, I'll play most armies in the game. But like knights, I definitely picked for rule of cool, and they're really fun. And it just because I like it because it's so different to everything else I play. I don't want to take a break from Space Marines and then play like Custodes. Even though, Custodes are fairly different, but like I want it to be a completely different army if I'm taking a break. And like Tyranids and Sisters and like White Scars like my mains, and Knights are just completely different from all that.
Yeah, I play what I want to play. I play the factions that I actually enjoy.
Yeah.
So that's why you don't see me playing Drakari.
I mean, you'd go like at least 5 and 3 with him though.
At least.
At least 5 and 3.
At least.
Yeah.
Nick might not believe so. But
you probably go at least 5 and 3.
Nick is somehow a believer that I wouldn't do well with Drakari.
Yeah.
I don't play melee factions. Like, have you played my AdMech, good sir?
Yeah, like I learned not to talk crap about that.
Please. Also, my crisis units could probably kill more succubi than most people did.
Yeah.
In combat. Thoughts on the Harlequin Eldari list that won Goonhammer? We talked about it earlier, towards the beginning of the stream, but I very largely put that win on Mike Porter being an amazing player.
Yeah, I don't think that's the kind of list that you can just easily pick up and find similar success with. I think you need a lot of practice with that kind of list because it's very rewarding for a skill general, but it's also going to be punishing for mistakes. Oh, that carapace actually came out pretty well.
How to beat orcs, play Innis's LGT Iron Hands list and go first.
You can definitely build lists Alpha Strike orcs off the table. It's just
I just went second against orcs. Custodes do it. They don't die.
Yeah.
It's power.
The Custodes are certainly tough enough to be able to take it.
Yeah, Custodes actually have a pretty darn reasonable matchup into orcs.
Mm-hmm. That carapace came out pretty well. Look at that.
And man, if he was taking all the DACA jets instead of the extra things that do stuff.
Yeah. That would be that. I think DACA jet's too much there.
Nope.
Did you have the Vexel on your list?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Vexel Shadowkeepers, that is awesome at orcs.
Yeah. Telemons floating around.
Not taking much damage.
Nope. They took a lot of damage from Mark having random mortal wounds.
Yeah, I can see that.
Stick bomb. Okay, he rolls the 6. It's D6 mortals. 6. Great.
What? Stick bomb? What is that?
Stick. Whatever. Something the squig buggies have. Some mortar. Squig.
Oh, the squig mines. Oh my god! Of course.
Yeah.
Mark would do that. Like
I was like, I guess I have to spend my CP on this. Feel no pain, even though I don't want to.
Mark would be the person to roll like a 6 on a squig mine.
He did.
And now he's like, yeah, this is just the anti-Telmon plan.
This is the
squig mines.
Yep.
Anything other than
it's like a 6-inch thing, so he had to come all the way up.
Yeah, that's you know what? I'm not even mad about that. That's incredible. The squig mines, baby.
He did it to my planes at New Orleans. It's like, what is this?
The mine has the squig has been trained to run underneath tanks
Somehow.
and also aircraft. Like
usually the squig
the thing has like more jumps than LeBron.
Because I asked him, I was like, usually the squig things have restrictions against aircraft. He was like, not this one. I was like, are you sure? He's like, yep. I was like, all right. And it was right. It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's just a little silly.
Yeah, there are armies out there that beat this orc list. It's just you have to skew quite hard into doing so.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that I took the AdMech planes, because I actually don't think they're
not skewed really.
They're not skewed, but they're the only tool AdMech has that is particularly good into the orc list.
That's true.
So without it, you just get tabled by the orc army. So
didn't want that.
All right, well, this Ghost Arc actually came along pretty good.
Hey, excellent.
Got all the guns on there.
Next step, Monolith?
Probably, honestly.
Heck yeah. It's all about the Monolith.
Although if I'm fitting in all this Tau stuff, I don't know where we're going to find the Necron points.
Necron points? Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Because they're on the same side.
Make it work. There's going to be a lot on this table.
It's just a monolith for the Necrons.
Just a monolith.
Just a monolith. How excited are you for GSC and the NIDS, John?
I am extremely excited for these new Tyranid rules that I've been enjoying lately. I'm hoping that the rumors are true about Gene Circle being one of the next codexes. I expect that they're going to announce some things this weekend, since there's like it's Warhammer Day or something on like Saturday. Yeah, I don't really know exactly what it is, but there's something being announced this weekend. I'm really hoping that the next wave of codexes, because we actually don't know what the next 40k release is.
Yeah, they have.
Like what? We know it's Black Templars in November, which will be, I assume, the mainstream codex and all the kits that haven't really been shown yet.
Yep.
Or have been shown but haven't been released yet. After that, we have no idea.
Yep.
So, because Rising Tide was titled Octarius Part 1, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say there's an Octarius Part 2.
I hope Necrons are in there, please.
You know what? Honestly,
are they in the lore for Octarius?
No.
Great. There goes that.
Yeah. Nope. So in the lore, and I haven't read Octarius Part 1 yet. Apparently, like there are world eaters in Octarius Part 1. So like maybe there's something with Part 2 there.
Then we would have to wait for They said next year's Chaos year.
Yeah, they said next year's Chaos year. So maybe it'll just be mentions like leading up to world eaters getting their own stuff later. Because it would make sense for world eaters to be the next God Legion to get their own book. Honestly, I have no idea why they haven't so far. I guess it's mostly a model line thing, but GW always does Slanesh last. Always. Anytime they do a release, they start with Tzeentch or Nurgle, then they do the other one of Tzeentch and Nurgle, then they do Khorne, then they do Slanesh last every single time. Like Slanesh had the last Greater Demon, Slanesh had the last plastic. Everything is last for Slanesh. So I'm guessing Emperor's Children will be the last Legion, but it would make sense for the 4 God Legions to get their own supplements or books the way they did for Thousand Sons of Death Guard. So I'm actually really excited for that. I think that'll be cool.
I want Chaos to have
Nothing for Chaos.
Not a single thing.
Not a single thing. No mercy from Richard. Okay.
Give me more Xenos.
You know what? I am okay with more Xenos. I really.
It's definitely not more Space Marines. I don't want
that. I don't think we need new Space Marines. I'm not going to try and tell you we do. I really hope that the supplements we have right now last us till like 2023. I think by 2023 I'll be ready for a new White Scar or like Ultramarine supplement. But like
that should be end of edition type stuff. Everybody, all the main factions got their books.
Yeah, I agree. Although Black Templars waited a while, so I'm not mad about that. Even though I don't plan to play them. No, thank you, Chaos. Exactly. Maddo, you know what? Plastic Noise Marines would be cool. Tau in January. Yeah, we've seen that rumor floating around, so I could see that being a real thing.
Have either of you guys had an opponent refuse to use a clock?
No, I haven't.
I have not either.
Yeah. Usually, I mean, if check with your tournament format to see, because a lot of tournaments have, if one player requests a clock, then you must use it.
That is in the actual ITC guidelines.
Yeah, so
they don't have to use that, but
yeah, but that's a very common thing in events. I think GW events haven't had it, but
you can call a judge over if you're past because they'll read out the time markers, and if you're well behind, you call a judge over and they'll help sort the game out.
Yeah,
make sure it finishes. But I have not had anybody. If I've had people who are new to clocks, hadn't used one before. And in that case, or they said they just didn't want to tap it, and I was like, fine, I will, no problem, I'll tap it for both sides, and I do the usual thing, which is I explain to people, yes, I'm using the clock, but I will always publicly let you acknowledge that I'm tapping it over to you, so you know when it's on your time.
I like the satisfying clicking noise that a clock makes.
Yeah.
And I also like, I don't know, I like the energy of like giving that thing a nice healthy slap, like to slap.
Yeah. Especially when you make a good move and you're just like, back to you.
Yep. It's like, ooh, I'm going to fire Overwatch. All the Harlequins are dead. Back to you. Done.
So satisfying.
This particularly specific example.
Oh, boy.
Didn't have quite as much gravitas as just like one turn killing an entire army, but I'll take what I can get. It's the little things.
Little things. Most people are fine with playing on a clock. Like, it just ensures that the game finishes. Both sides get equal time.
Yeah, I've even had it with new players where like if I'm like not worried about the matchup per se, and I'm more like just want to finish the game, I'll sometimes say like, hey, I'm gonna put a clock down so we're both like aware of time. Like if they're like, oh, I've never used a clock before, like honestly, like we don't need to use it to like just I'm not gonna death clock you, just like so we're both just aware of time. And like just using it that way is just enough. It's like, hey, like you can see that you have 30 more minutes than I've had so far, so I'll just speed this up a little bit, and it works out.
What they should do is put all the Imperium factions into one book, the largest book ever. That book would be so dense, Nick wouldn't know what was going on.
I would like that. Although I play almost everything Imperium. I don't play AdMech and I don't play Grey Knights. I really want to play AdMech. I keep waiting for the Forge World models to get rules. And that's kind of been like my stick.
The Legendary Fires of Syraxis.
The Legendary Fires of Syraxis, which was previewed before Richard Siegler came back to 40k. And here we are. Here we are.
I have returned.
It's been a long...
Still no AdMech.
MacArthur over here. It's been a long wait. Yeah, honestly, that's the reason I don't own AdMech, because I bought everything else Imperium because I just like Imperium.
Oh, the second part of that comment was, and then throw that book into the fire.
What? Who said that?
Chaos Heresy. Please report to your nearest Inquisitor.
The commissar would like a word, young man.
I'll do the clock all game for opponents if they're weird and agree. And when I TO, if one wants a clock, it's the case closed. Yeah, I mean, I just haven't seen anybody saying, no, I don't want the clock or anything. That makes me suspicious.
Yeah, the only time I've had people resistant to it is like newer players who have never used a clock. And then I'm just like, okay, well, like, I'm going to put it down. Let's just use it so we both know what the time is. And we can kind of talk out how we're feeling from there. Because, like, I've had games where, like, my opponent ran out of time on turn 4. I had 40 minutes left. I'm like, and I can look at the table. I'm like, okay, like, we can play on my clock until we're out of time. But, like, you ran out. So, like, let's just finish the game and, you know, have a good time. Look at this, doing washes at the end of the stream. Who could have thought?
I dropped the other piece.
Please also delete random Space Marine data sheets until there are only 20 left. You know what? I wouldn't be mad if we removed some Space Marine data sheets, but you know what? I've spent too much on Space Marines. Like, let's just start with that. I own too many Space Marines. If I invested everything that I invested in Space Marines into my Tyranid collection, I would have a new car and also every data sheet in triplicate. Like, ugh. Space Marines, man. So many. There are so many. And like every time, like, I think I've got like everything Space Marine could possibly want. Jack's like, hey, have you looked at the Vindicator Laser Destroyer? It's flat 6 damage. I'm like, what? There's a Laser Destroyer on top of a Vindicator now? Yeah, apparently that's just a Forge World thing that's existed for like ever. And we've just never used it because why would we? But apparently the reason is that it's 3 shots at damage 6. And if you need to kill orc planes, accept no substitutes.
How much damage? Flat 6. Accepted.
What's the best way to run the Castellan? I actually think it's as a free blade. I don't think that Raven is... I think Raven is overhyped. I never want to spend 3 command points on that, ever. That's just too many. So I would still take it as a free blade because you have a 2 CP strat to give it your 1s to hit and wound if you really want to emulate that. Or honestly Crast and just give it a Warlord trait for reroll 1s to hit. Something along those lines. You could even take it as a free blade where it you use a strat to give it a 2nd relic so it gets the big plasma cannon that all Castellans know and love. And then you slap on top of that something else, like to a bomber save. That could be nice and tanky.
There's so much of Call's Wrath going around.
Call's Wrath is it's been around the block. Bacall himself has been around the block, so it makes sense, really, if you think about it. Someone tell others, spread the word, this is the correct time for washes. Yeah, no kidding, right? Do your wash right before you leave so that it has time to dry.
When's the last time someone took an actual assault squad? Somebody in the UK.
Yeah, someone was taking them in Iron Hands.
Yep.
I still favor a Vanguard veteran squad with basic chainswords at that point. But, you know what, if you're out of elite slots or you've already taken max Vandits...
Yeah, he was out of elite slots.
You know, in pure Space Wolves, Skyclaws are not bad because they get some, like, headstrong rule about +2 attacks on the charge, but it's only in pure Space Wolves. So that would really be the situation for it. Look at these angry Tyranids just running around with their claws.
Building the Ghost Arc. Almost done, actually.
Almost done? Yeah, it's coming together pretty nicely there. What's left in this guy?
I gotta put the front prow on, and there might be some other final step in there. But pretty much done.
Okay. Not bad, sir, not bad.
The Ghost Arc is one of those good data sheets. It's a little pricey, but it's still actually...
I want to see you run the arcing lot into someone.
Yeah, I need more Ghost Arcs.
How many Ghost Arcs do you have?
This is my second one.
Really?
I have
I guess
three.
you've
I have
always used
three
the Doomsday Arc, yeah.
I have 3 Doomsday
Yeah,
Arcs.
just get one more Ghost Arc after
Let's
this.
rip the guns off.
Why not, right? Flip it upside down?
Flip it upside down.
No.
Yeah, the Castle Inn is cool. I mean, it's... How many points is it exactly
It's
now?
like 630.
It's
That's
pricey.
a lot, yeah.
It does do a lot of damage, though. What free blade traits do you give it?
It doesn't need OBSEC. I would give it a free reroll.
Free reroll to hit?
Hit, wound, save, or damage.
Or damage, ooh. Nice.
So you've got some options there, and then I would look at rolling on a table where it gets either +1, +2 move, +1 weapon skill, or +1 ballistic skill.
Hoping for that +1 ballistic skill.
Yeah, but even if not, taking it from weapon skill 4 to 3 matters a lot. Going from, because it's a slow knight, it only moves 10. Going from 10 to 12 helps a lot.
Yeah.
Like any of those options are actually not bad on it.
Yeah, that's fair.
You could do OBSEC as well, of course. Never hurts to be OBSEC, but just an option. Snap, crackle, pop.
The Warriors are coming along.
Warriors are coming along.
That's good stuff.
We got enough time to base them. Sure do. Look at that.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, we do.
It's amazing
Did
how much can get done.
you did you see that the second one of these got found?
No, where'd you find it?
Oh, Jack brought it. He's like, hey, I took this before ACO to base a Tech Marine, but then I never did. I'm like, what?
Why didn't you just do it here?
Like, one, if it was one model, why didn't you do it here? 2, and you just kept it for like 4 months. You brought this back like last week.
Yeah.
Like, eventually this acrylic mud will be used, but
I
like,
did not think of
to be clear,
the Jack taking.
I did not think of Jack just taking it out of the house, because the first can of this has made it through about 8,000 points of Space Marines and is still that much left.
Still a good amount.
Like, there's a good amount in here. Like, these things are... Yeah, this is the lighter one. These things last forever. So I will never buy mud again in my life, because 2 of these things... the Vallejo basing material is the best I've ever used. Really like that stuff. Come on. There you go.
Tough to open.
Yeah, seriously, I need an octopus to open this for me. Let's open up the jars.
Moment of truth. There's supposed to be some little pieces to put on
No.
at the bottom.
No. Save yourself.
I'm doing it.
You're doing it? No, Richard.
I have time.
Richard, oh my god.
I'm not Nick here. I don't give up at the
All
end.
right, okay. You're not going to leave, like, the guns off of your Plagueburst Crawler?
Nope.
Remember when he left, he built a Foul Blight spawn in a stream, and he's like, see, I built a model, and he
put
didn't
his
have
head
a
up.
face?
Yeah, he didn't have the face.
We're like,
Nick was just like, this is one of those little pieces on it. Yeah, it's his face.
this is his head. It's like... Oh, man.
No.
Classic. Good times. Good times were had by all.
The Plagueburst crawlers were bad. If there's anybody who's been following us for a while in chat, they remember when he built the Sanctum. And I had to help him take it apart several times and then read the instructions to him because he couldn't understand how the middle piece worked.
Battle Sanctum?
On the Battle Sanctum, yeah. He couldn't understand putting that one piece halfway in and outside of the building so that it could hold the lanterns down in the front.
Yep.
He couldn't understand where to put that piece. And I was like, it's just right like this. I know it looks a little strange right now, but it's going to make sense.
Yep. The vaunted Battle Sanctum.
The vaunted Battle Sanctum.
I love that thing. You know what? That thing made me happy. Just a happy little Battle Sanctum.
Not to be seen again for...
No, probably not. But you know what? Honestly, it put its work in. It provided a wonderful service to me.
And then Games Workshop
what a
was just
meme.
like, indirect fire will solve this Sanctum problem.
This Battle Sanctum, yeah, that Battle Sanctum nerf rolled in a lot faster than you had Mech nerf. Oh, poor Battle Sanctum. Poor Battle Sanctum.
I wish they made it so that the leftover pieces would be just on one sprue, and then you could throw out the.
You would think so,
but
no, they do not do it that way.
Not today. For GSC, what do you think if they go first? They can deep strike turn 4. If second, then they can deep strike turn 1.
That would be a really cool mechanic. Actually, I would love to see that. Genestealer Cult is such a unique army conceptually that I feel like the Codex is going to have a ton of interesting rules in it. I mean, the first time it did.
It did. They had the first Vect.
Yeah. No, the Dark Eldar.
Dark Eldar.
They had the second Vect. But they had a lot of cool mechanics. Like Blips is wholly unique, and is literally the only reason the army exists right now.
Yeah.
So I really hope Blips stay the same. I could see it. Like, I don't think Blips are broken. It's just all it does is it makes the turn 1 Alpha Strike harder, and maybe if Blips exist in the meta, less people invest in a turn 1 Alpha Strike.
I think Blips are fine.
Yeah. I think it's fair to assume that with 6's auto wounding on Stealers and the reroll damage on Hive Guard, there's no need for a +1 to hit link. No. Just because Warriors are really cheap and fit, they fill a role. I'm not opposed to the Tyranid Prime at all. I think that he is quite useful, but I actually think that the Warriors are still very valuable. Just because the +1 to hit is just so generically useful, where reroll damage is really good on Hive Guard, and the 6's to hit is really good on Gene Stealers. The Tyranid Warriors are nice because it's a very cheap unit still. Even with all of this unit is 66 points.
They're 22 points a model.
21.
21.
I'm sorry, 17. They're 17 points a model. 17. Yeah, 17.
And then you buy upgrades on them?
Yes. So 17 points a model is like Scything Talons.
They are the same price as Immortals.
Yes. I don't think Warriors are undercosted, though. I think Warriors are fine.
No, I'm not saying they're undercosted. I'm saying, man.
Immortals are a little overcosted.
They're really overcosted. Man, they're terrible.
Yeah. And boy, do Tyranid Warriors do absolutely nothing for 17 points a model. But
that's okay. They got a little bit of beef, and they got a good roll attached to it.
Yeah, they got a cool buff. And that is enough for me. It's enough to justify for sure. I could very well end up dropping the Tyranid Warriors, but for right now, I think they're certainly good enough to paint, and they're going to be seeing the table for us.
Have I checked out the new Pathfinder rules for Kill Team? I have not. I didn't read any of them.
Yeah. Whatever 40k rules are coming out for them will be previewed on Saturday. So I hope, if there are rules in the box, which I don't know about. I'm going to guess that when they get released, GW is just going to drop a 1-page document, either in White Dwarf or somewhere else. So we'll find out what those sisters, totally not scouts, do.
Is that up for pre-order yet, or they're just
they've previewed it. It's up for pre-order on Saturday.
Okay. Are we splitting a box? I don't need more Pathfinders, but I'll just get them.
Honestly, I'm probably going to wait.
Okay. Some notable things are +1 to hit on 3 marker lights, frequent mentioning of performing actions for free, and move, shoot, move. If move, shoot, move is a marker light, my god.
I would kill someone.
That would be so absolutely powerful. Can you imagine that? You're just like, light you up, fire, fade, the whole army. Oh.
That doesn't even make sense.
It wouldn't make a sense, but man, would it be funny.
No.
There's no way that's going to be in 40k.
That can't be.
There's no way.
A kill team with one models, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I wish that you had to spend marker light tokens. Like, I wish that the buffs were more powerful, but you spent it. So, like, every marker light hit places a marker light token, right? And then you can take 2 marker light tokens off to get +1 hit.
I love the token system.
And then, yeah, like, tokens are cool.
I think, yeah. Yep.
It's all about the blips.
But, as well as marker lights preventing them from firing other weapons.
I mean, that exists currently, right?
Yeah, that exists.
Yeah. So no surprise there.
It exists for everything that isn't a vehicle. If you're a vehicle, you can fire marker lights and your other weapons.
Is it? Oh, that's right. The
it's move, shoot, move on the Pathfinders themselves.
That's still a good mechanic. I could see Pathfinders getting that.
That would make them a lot more valuable, because honestly, they're pretty garbage.
Yeah, either as a strat or just as an ability, that would be cool for Pathfinders to have.
I think they have to shoot their marker lights, though, instead of their guns to get it, which is fine.
But that makes them useful as a marker light.
Totally.
Unit.
It does.
Okay.
And marker lights are absolutely awful. They're so bad. Which is why the Farsight build is, a blessing, because It didn't require you spending tons of points on marker
On
lights.
marker lights, yeah.
What's an aspirational goal for a pure? It's because you're spending points on something that isn't guaranteed to do anything at all, and also the buffs are pretty mediocre. What's an aspirational goal for a pure craft worlds at a major?
I think you could still go for a top.
If you're Mike Porter, you just win. Win it.
Mike Porter could win.
What's a record that would make you turn your head? Like 5-1 with craft worlds is impressive.
That's very impressive.
Good stuff. Mm-hmm. Pure craft worlds, that is. Craft worlds Drukhari is you can win events with that.
Yeah.
It's still good.
But yeah, pure craft worlds, that'd be very
It's a little less good because orcs are in the meta and all that one damage isn't going to get you too far.
Indeed.
But it was very good in the meta previously. And if it goes back to Horde meta, like, do you want to play against the craft world indirect battery with Tyranids?
Not really, no. That would actually be
It's just
hard,
annoying.
Yeah. It would be annoying.
There's just so many shots and just ignoring cover.
Yep.
AP4 on.
I just need the Gene Throws to pop off turn 1.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Yep. After buggy plane nerfs on orcs, what list can you make out of the orc codex? You get points decreases for all the other stuff at the same time.
I would love...
That's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Because most of it...
I still think like Goths actually have some
Yeah.
viable but not broken lists right now, so I think Goths would be the best thing to take if... There's actually an episode of the Best in Faction podcast very recently that focuses on an orc player who went 5-0 without spamming buggies. So if you...
was that Rich Gilton?
No, it was Lucas Troller, I believe is the gentleman's name was. Up in the Pacific Northwest. I think he was like a 5-0 second place kind of thing, but still 5-0 with orcs, and I think he had a total of 3 vehicles to list.
Total of 3 vehicles?
Like some it was something low. Like I think he had 3 squig buggies, but no planes, and maybe like a truck or 2. Like it's a very nice balanced orky thing. So that would actually be a good episode to listen to.
I think like things like the beast snaggers are like a couple points overcosted, and if they, the regular infantry went down a point or 2, you'd see that all over the place.
I would like to see orc boys, including beast snagger boys, go down 1 point per model, and then you take planes and remove them from the codex, and then we just see what happens.
Yeah,
that's where you start. And if that's not enough, we can always look at it later.
Yep.
In like 3
give
months.
Give them an extra chance.
Yeah.
So I'm very much same thing with Grey Knights. If we nerf the Dread Knights, buff the other stuff because man, is it not particularly good.
Yeah, I would like to see both types of Dread Knights go up like 10 or 15 points, and maybe Interceptors up 1, and like Terminators down 3 or 4, Paladins down 3 or 4.
It's gonna need to be a little larger.
That's where you start.
I think we can look at Dark Angel Terminators and be like, it has to be at least this much, if not cheaper.
Well, how much is a Grey Knight Terminator?
47 points.
That's a number right there. Wow. Okay.
Oh, sorry. That's the Paladins. The regular Terminator's 42.
I think 38 is fine. A Dark Angel Terminator is like 43 or 38, depending on how you get it.
Yeah, I think that's the gold standard of Terminators.
But like,
the Grey Knight Terminators really don't do anything special.
Yeah, no,
they need to go down a couple extra points.
Casting of power is cool, but like, how many points does that add?
No.
Okay. All right. I can get behind dropping them like 5 or 6.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying a lot. I'm not saying 10 points. I'm just saying they'll need a little extra love because they are just not very good.
Yeah. Okay.
They needed extra rule support and they just didn't get it, which is unfortunate because they're supposed to be the core part of
Grey Knights. Yeah.
Grey Knights.
Grey Knights do like their Terminators in the lore.
Okay. I see what you did here, Games Workshop.
Not happy with it?
Everybody was running 10 Paladins, so no more Paladins for you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Let's see. Thoughts on -1 to wound Tyrant?
I think he's fantastic. I'm using him on Thursday. I'm not sure if he's going to make my final list yet, but I really like him conceptually.
So cool too.
And I love having a Tyrant on the field. And I like having 1 Tyrant on the field. I don't think 7 Tyrants was ever as much fun. But having 1 Hive Tyrant on the field feels really good. So I'm very happy to see that guy out there. So he'll definitely continue to get some testing from me.
There's a rumor about Craftworld's battle focus changing and moving D6 after shooting. How much would you guys rage at this?
That would be really good. I hope that's not true.
That would just be silly.
Yeah, I don't think Fire and Fade needs to be army wide.
No, it's fine at 1.
It's fine for 1 with like a resource invested, or on small units like Eliminators that are not highly impactful.
Yeah, but 10 Dark Reapers? No.
Please no. That needs to be a CP cost, something that's like vectable, stuff like that.
Playing Orc Buggy List with my Tyranids tomorrow. Any tips? Hopefully get blips.
I think that having so find a way to get all of your trash and reserves. If your list is already final, sure, but if you're looking at how to build a Tyranid list to deal with that in general, make sure that your trash can go in reserves. Make sure that you have a hit modifier built in, like a Maleceptor or Venom Thrope, that you can then stack with Forests to make Squig Buggy still hit you on 6s. And then look at a Maleceptor as a strength debuff aura. I don't think the Maleceptor is necessary, but I think a Malanthrope or Venom Thropes are mandatory. And then I think you want all your trash to be in reserves. And then you want to have some units that do decent damage into buggies. Something like Gene Stealers, Dakagons, Hive Guard are all good options there.
I'm experiencing a large drop in 40k players in my local group. Due to the current state of the game and meta, do you think there's an easy fix to this? Yes, it's just spending a couple extra hours on a weekend and rebalancing the game.
Yep.
Small points decreases in certain places, some points increases elsewhere. Done.
Yep.
That's just a good starting baseline. Obviously, there's some rules like Necrons need a lot of love, but that's apparently they don't want to do any of that.
Yeah.
So, but just fixing the meta, it's very couple hours here and there.
I think it's just removing some of the non-interactive, less fun experiences from the game.
Indirect and planes should not be cheap.
Yeah.
Please.
And they shouldn't be impactful. Indirect should never be better than AP2. You know what? I again don't know if this is real. I had like this fun conversation, like talk about what I want Indirect to be, and I actually had this epiphany of what Indirect should be for Imperial Guard. And that is that Imperial Guard artillery is ballistic skill 5, and it gets +2 to hit, which of course caps at +1, +2 to hit if a Vox caster has line of sight to the target. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Like, it gives you a reason to take Vox casters, which is like so Imperial Guard. Like the man in the trench calling down the airstrike. That's so Guard.
There's so many random rules that interact with the Voxcaster
that are garbage.
Where is the Voxcaster? I haven't seen this man in forever.
He is.
He must have.
He is lost. He has bad reception. He is not on the battlefield. Yeah, I've certainly seen some people who are a little burned out at the state of the game, but you know what? Hopefully it gets repaired quickly. I think we're at the point where a chapter approved or a PDF or something along those lines has to be close. I hope we don't have to wait for that, but either way, certainly hope for it.
Bring back the scatter die for Indirect.
Done. Scatter dice. I loved a scatter dice. That was cool. It took forever.
Yeah, it just adds to the game. You guys, do you think a Tyrant with Bone Swords can take down a Dread Knight with losing the invuln?
Nope, because it's 8-2. So it still gets a 4-up save. Don't do that. Yeah. I mean, you can theoretically give it monstrous size, at which
the
point...
3-up invuln guy, you can get past him.
Absolutely. Well, if you give it monstrous size, it improves the strength and AP. Actually, I don't think that works. I don't think that stacks with relics. Never mind. So no. That's bad. Yeah, I don't like that at all. I like just classic weight of dice with Tyranids. Hive Guard and then a Hive Tyrant. You're never going to kill a full health Dread Knight with a Hive Tyrant, but you know what? I bet you can kill a 3-wound one pretty reliably. And Hive Guard average 10 wounds. So if you can buff up a Hive Guard squad, take a Dread Knight down to its bottom tier, and then crash a Hive Tyrant in, you've got good odds of coming out on top.
Jim's taking a break from 40k. Oh,
that's a pity.
Hopefully he'll be back.
Hopefully. He needs to win more Best Painted awards.
Yeah, his armies are gorgeous.
Always.
I'm a bit scared of having a 185 point monster just for a buff and a psi power.
Omega, I can appreciate that. The Maleceptor may not stay in my list, but he is good enough that I'm going to paint him. So help me. It's been too long.
Yeah, Venom Thropes and Malanthropes are especially for orcs, but they're
good into everyone with a gun. Like, they're good into Marines. Like, the Marine Dreadnought builds, when they start hitting on 4s with reroll 1s, that's just not as good. Like, that's it. Like, that becomes very inconsistent. So any way you can weather your enemy shooting a little bit more, especially on large units, hordes, it's really valuable. So I'm all about that.
All right. Well, I am at the end of the line, John. You're
so
all
good. I'm good to go.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. Really appreciate your support. Mm-hmm. We got some really cool matchups coming up tomorrow. We've got John playing as Tyranids, which he's been talking about throughout the stream, up against Nyx Drukari. So top tier matchup. Has been difficult for Tyranids, but
traditionally
they've got some new tools.
We'll see if it's enough.
See how it goes. And then in the Worm stream, we are doing Grey Knights, Nyx Grey Knights, up against Jack Harpster's Blood Angels. Really tight game at the Crucible Major. They're going to try and show some of the interesting moments.
Exactly.
for that coaching match. So
All right, good times.
hope you join us there. We're going to send you off for a promo of that War Room, let you know all the good stuff that's in there. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Dive even deeper into competitive 40K and become a member of the world's most knowledgeable and positive community.
The War Room is an exclusive group that brings together the world's best 40K players as coaches to help anyone from a newer player to an experienced tournament veteran learn, grow, and reach their goals within our shared hobby.
Each week we offer a variety of live stream coaching matches centered around illuminating the thought process and in-game decision making of top players. We explain everything we're doing and why.
You'll learn about the ever-evolving meta, match play mission theory, list making, and discussion of every faction in the game, and have access to analysis of all the latest rules. Our team of highly experienced coaches teach weekly clinics on each individual faction, strategy sessions on deployment and cool tricks, and meta-analyses each week during Meta Monday.
We are committed to not only providing the best knowledge for players available, but also building a one-of-a-kind community.
Come be a part of the War Room.